Here are my hot takes for the 2023 NFL season. And hey, you might be able to make a little bit of money on it as well. Welcome to Juice Bets. My name is Trevor. Today I've got 3 hot takes for this upcoming NFL season. Everyone's super excited, especially in the betting community. It makes it something to look forward to with the NFL coming back, the sports equinox with, NHL, NBA, NFL, everything back in October. There's going to be a bunch of surprising things happen in the NFL as there is every single year. And I've got 3 ideas of what might happen. And honestly, a lot of these could be great betting opportunities. And so we'll get into exactly what the hot take is, why I think that it might happen, and also where you can find that bet and the best odds possible. So before we get into it, make sure you guys like and subscribe. It really does help us out at Juice Bets. And let's get into the hot takes. Now, just before I say these takes, I got to give a disclaimer. These bets that I'm going to be giving out here are not plus EV bets or necessarily mathematically profitable bets. This is an opinion. This is me looking at NFL, following NFL for about a decade now, being a huge fan of the sport and the league. These are my opinions, so you can tail my bets and interest. And if you're interested, in the picks, continue watching. But this is not going to be a plus EV video. With that said, here we go. First hot take, a scorching take. In the best division in football, the NFC North, the Ravens are going to take it. They're going to win the division and make a deep playoff run. Like I said, it's arguably the toughest division in football. You've got the Ravens, the Bengals, who are favored to win that division, Steelers, who are a powerhouse the past, 25 years, not so much anymore, and the Browns, who have sucked the past 25 years, but they have Deshaun Watson and a lot of who knows what's going on around that team, right? There's a lot of question marks, and they have the upside to be a great team if Watson and his supporting cast, mesh very well together. If Lamar can stay healthy, the Ravens have the highest upside of any team in the league. Lamar, when he's healthy, when he's playing well, is the best player in football, period. The Ravens also have experience with their head coach, their coaching staff as a whole, their team as a whole. They've made the playoffs, numerous times. Never really made that deep of a playoff run since the last time, they were in the Super Bowl. They've got the grit, they've got the experience, and I think that's going to prevail in this division with, a lot of young quarterbacks, right? You've got Burrow, Pickett, even Deshaun Watson is quite inexperienced in the playoffs. So I do think the Ravens have a great chance to win the AFC North. Great coaching, solid team. If they can just get past these injuries that they've had the past 2 years, which has been kind of unfair to them. They've never really got a fair shot at taking the division. So I love the Ravens to win this division. Let's look at what kind of odds we can get on this bet. So just jumping over to my computer here to take a look at the odds on this bet. The best way for me to find specific odds, instead of just going to a specific sports book to look for it, just because we know that sports books can really vary in the odds that they give out. My favorite way to do this is to look on OddsJam, which is a platform that shows you all of the odds across all the sharpest sports books in the world. And so what we can do is we can just go AFC North division winner, and basically it will spit out the odds that we can be offered across a bunch of different sports books that I have access to, right? So Caesars, DraftKings, these are a few that are offering this market right now. And as we can see, the Ravens about plus 235, right? And so obviously, if you were to place this bet, you want to make sure that you are checking a platform like OddsJam and line shopping around and making sure that you're getting the best value you can, because this money is going to be locked up for a long period of time, right? I mean, you need to have this locked up into January, February, right? So always make sure you're line shopping, getting the most value out of your bet. This isn't necessarily a super red hot take like I have in the next couple picks. This is our warm take. We're warming ourselves up here to get into the more crazy ones. But yeah, Ravens to win the division plus 235. I love that bet. I think it's a hot take. Most people think the Bengals are going to run away with it. But I do think the Ravens can pretty comfortably win this division. Second scorching hot take here. Trevor Lawrence to win the MVP. A lot of people agree with me. I was looking all over Twitter and trying to do a little bit of research into what kind of hot takes are out there right now. I don't really want to double up on too many. However, I did see actually a decent amount of people saying that Trevor Lawrence is going to win MVP. And after looking into the numbers, I really, really agree with it. And if we look at the odds in a little bit here, I think it does count as a hot take because these odds are pretty long. So Lawrence to win the MVP, I mean, he's got incredible weapons with him now, right? He's got the addition of Calvin Ridley, who seems like he puts up over 1,000 yards every year he plays. Kirk, Etienne, Zay Jones, Evan Ingram. He's got such a great supporting cast, arguably one of the best all-around offenses in the league, which is great to support an MVP winner, obviously. They were 10th in passing yards per game last year in his sophomore year, 25 touchdowns, only 8 interceptions. I really do think it's only up for here. As their offense gets better, there's going to be more scoring opportunities, more touchdowns, more yards. And at the end of the day, MVP winners are from a winning team with tons of passing yards and touchdowns, right? As long as they're not necessarily a runner like Lamar was in his MVP season, it's going to come down to passing yards and touchdowns and winning your division. I do think that the Jaguars are going to win their division. I think they could easily get 11-12 wins. And there are no injury concerns or past major health problems with Trevor Lawrence, which is super important, obviously, to win MVP. You got to be healthy the whole season. So let's look at what kind of odds we can get on this bet. So Trevor Lawrence MVP winner plus 1,800 is kind of the best odds you can find right now on Caesars. You can get it at 1,600, 1,700 on these other books, but the best one is on Caesars at plus 1,800. So a pretty long shot. You got an 18-1 odds there. I would think that would qualify as a scorching take, almost as hot as this coffee here. Let's get into our third and final on fire take. Chris Olave wins Offensive Player of the Year. Yes, this sounds absurd. We've got guys like Jefferson, Chase, C-Mac, Saquon Barkley, all of these crazy offensive players that, more than likely will put up better numbers than Chris Olave with Derek Carr throwing to him. However, I think that hot takes have got to, you got to provide one that is quite hot, and this is definitely a hot one. We'll look at what kind of odds we can get in this in just a second, but the reason why I like Olave is mainly because of the addition of Derek Carr. I don't think that Derek Carr is an MVP caliber player. However, with Olave being a young, explosive player and Derek Carr coming in, I mean, Olave is the number one target, right? He is the number one offensive player on that team. So Derek Carr is going to feed him, right? Derek Carr loves to force feed number one targets. With Devontae Adams last year, he had over 1,500 yards and 14 touchdowns as the number one target in Las Vegas, right? So now Derek Carr, he's on the Saints. He's got Olave as his number one target. I think he's going to get at least 120 targets, probably more than that. And we're going to be looking at over 1,300 yards. If he can get up to 1,400, 1,500 yards and a bunch of touchdowns like Adams did last year, and he's in his sophomore season, there's a lot more eyes on a guy who's new to the league and putting up numbers like that. I do think he has a great chance at least vying for this award. And as we can see in a bit, the odds that we get on this are pretty crazy. Let's look at them. So when I was looking at this bet and looking at the options and the players here, I did not think that Olave would be this low down on the list with his kind of talent and his opportunity and target share this year. I mean, if we look at this, he is so far down this list. It's pretty ridiculous and makes me love this bet even more. Basically 55-1, right? Plus 5,500. You can actually find him at plus 15,000 on this one sports book here. It depends on the sports books you have access to, obviously, but even at 40-1, 55-1, we're getting great odds on a guy who, could easily, very, very easily have a career year this season, a breakout year. And, if you're not a quarterback, you're not going to win MVP. So next best thing, Offensive Player of the Year. I love it. Olave, the explosive player, number one target. I mean, you got to lock this in real quick at plus 5,500 because when he goes out there and puts up 150 yards and 2 touchdowns in his first game, this thing is going to move. So that's it, guys. 3 hot takes, scorching hot. The Baltimore Ravens plus 235 or so to win the AFC North. Trevor Lawrence at about plus 1,800, 18 to 1 odds to win MVP. And finally, Olave to win Offensive Player of the Year plus 5,500. Pretty hot takes. I love it. Super fun. Let me know your guys' hot takes in the comments down below there. Like this video if you did enjoy it. Let me know if you think I'm stupid, if you think these picks suck. I love to hear it. They're hot takes after all, right? So hopefully you guys enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time.